Let me tell you about the most traumatizing Christmas story you're ever gonna hear. Now, while you might laugh at this painful memory of mine, know that as a kid, this was no laughing matter. This was the absolute worst. Hey, I'm JR, and this is the story of how I got Grinched in real life. So remember when the Nintendo 64 was released, right? I know you do. It seemed like every kid had one waiting for them under their Christmas tree, and I was lucky enough that my mom's house was no different. This was the greatest Christmas of all time, right up until it wasn't. All right, so to set the stage for you, my sister and I, Alicia, we had just finished opening up all our gifts that we were fortunate enough to get from Mom and Santa. And this year, I got WWF action figures, I got socks and undies, which Mom still gets me every single year to this day because you can never have enough. But the big thing on my mind, the big thing that I wanted, was the highly coveted Nintendo 64. To keep it real with you, my mom worked super hard. I'm talking like overtime to get us what we wanted, my sister and I. And Mom was always working different type of jobs, and we would move to different cities and different apartments. And I attended a few different schools, but it was this year, this specific Christmas, that Mom was gonna make sure it was one that we would never forget. And boy, was it ever. So after we opened up presents and I was there just drooling and staring at the Nintendo 64 like I couldn't wait to play my wrestling game, Dad showed up. You know, parents are divorced, but they decided to get together and they were gonna take the family, or whatever resemblance we had of one at the time, to Disney on Ice at the Civic Center in Portland, Maine. So we ventured out into the snow. We went and saw Mickey and Minnie and Donald and the whole gang just skating around on the ice, having a blast and singing all those just childhood favorites that we know and love and that we grew up with. So as much as I enjoyed the show, in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking about that Nintendo 64, that N64. I had to get home. I had to play WWF Warzone. So we make it back to my mom's place, pull up to the house, we open the door, and literally just everything got taken out of the apartment. All the gifts that we had just gotten, and pretty much all the appliances, you name it. During this time, while we were at the show, my mom's apartment got ransacked. I remember getting some WWF action figures, gone. I remember getting socks and undies, gone. I'm pretty sure a grown man robbed the place, so what is he doing with kids' underwear in the first place? I remember getting wrestling magazines, gone, out the window. And the coveted Nintendo 64, sadly, gone before I could even open it. That experience, if you remember as a kid, as a little boy, when you finally got your hands on the Nintendo 64 and you got to open it, and that smell of it, and holding the controller in your hand, and the toggle in the middle, and the C buttons on the right and the triggers on the top, like I didn't even get to experience that. It was all taken away. I never thought that something like that could happen to us. And I think what makes it even more difficult in retrospect, just for my mom, you know, to had worked that hard and to, you know, being single and just trying to make it work, and for her to like go above and beyond to give us this type of Christmas and for it to be taken away from us. It was as if the Grinch himself shimmied down the chimney that we didn't have and loaded up his sleigh with everything in the house, all the Christmas gifts, everything. And the only thing that was still remaining was the Christmas tree, minus the ornaments. Believe it or not, the ornaments were gone. And all we could really do was like sweep up the pine needles. Like, damn, they could have at least taken those with them. You know how difficult those are to pick up. The vacuum was even gone, so all we had was the broom to pick these things up. Like, I'm telling you, I might be kind of laughing and smirking right now because it's, in retrospect, it's not funny, but it is. But back then, this was traumatic. I had never experienced something like this before. You know, I still avoid watching The Grinch every year, even as an adult, because I got Grinched in real life as a kid. But maybe this is the year that I finally do it, because I love Jim Carrey. I think it's time this year that I finally watch The Grinch. I kind of sort of suppressed this memory from my mind because of how terrible it was. And, you know, when I look back and I think about it in retrospect, I think what stands out to me the most is just how grateful I am for my mom to be able to do that for us. Even though everything was taken, I still know that she still did that. This is why during the holidays, I like to keep my butt right at home. Like, Charlie Brown Christmas on Ice is here in Denver right now, but guess what? Your boy's not going, because I'm not leaving the Christmas tree unattended. I am not letting this ever happen to me again. So now that I've poured my heart out to you and shared with you my most traumatic Christmas story, I want to hear yours. Do you have one? Let me know in the comment section. Please make sure you like, comment, and/or subscribe. And remember, it's cool to be you. Merry Christmas.